Good evening once again to everyone. Um, trust you have a wonderful day. Trust it went well and less stressful. So we did a bit of introduction to SQL last week Friday. Yep, and let me close my page admin. So we did a bit of introduction to SQL last week Friday. It was more about just getting our way around how to use what SQL looks like, what the interface is all about, and da, da, da. So we used I think there was a platform I had access to, that was um, Facebook platform, where I was actually going through their practice section. So I'm just going to start from SQL. So SQL was, so can tell us what SQL is. Let's start with that. How's SQL?
Structured query language.
Okay, yeah, that's the full meaning. But what's it used for? Do you mind telling us what it is? Or does anyone, can anyone else just pick it up? Mute, okay,
To communicate data.
okay. Communicate data. Do I really want to buy that? Okay, well, that's an attempt. Can anybody help us? Information. Oh, okay. Let me see. Something is going on. I'm not even sharing any screen yet. Let me see. Share my screen. So yeah, someone said communicate data. Let me see. Someone is saying something here. Storing and processing information. Okay, that's one pair. Who else? Um, So we're just going to be using, maybe I should, okay, let's keep using docs, spreadsheets, but the focus is not spreadsheets. So yes, someone said communicate data, someone said for, sorry, someone said for, how's it again? For storing and processing information. Okay, well, spread SQL is first, it's structured query language, yes. Then it is used for writing queries and basically used to access, yeah, information. Processed data is an information. So, but I wouldn't say information. I just like it's just to work with data. So, you use SQL to fetch data, to create data, to basically query database. So what then is now a query? Because query might sound like too um, vague in a way. So come in, just 1 second. So query might sound vague. So basically, what's a query? So query. I think I mentioned query last week. Did I? Did I not? I must have mentioned query. Does anybody remember what query is? Okay. Uh, so basically, um, A query is like you are requesting for information from something. For instance, I was queried at work, basically, like you were brought up to a particular place, then you begin to, they were asking you some questions about things. So, in that sense, they are requesting for information from you. So, basically, that's like what a query is. So, a simple query, and there's something interesting that everybody actually runs a query one way or the other without even knowing about it. Okay. For instance, now, is there anybody here that does not use Google? Anybody? Let me see. Anybody that does not use Google here can just thumbs down, like no, thumbs up, yes, if you use Google. I don't want to believe that there's anybody here that does not use Google. Now, you sending information to Google, like you're trying to search, okay, how to cook a for the fact that you are searching that is you are placing a query in Google, you're asking it for information, you're saying, okay, give me information. And when you put how to cook a for you, you're going to get results, you're going to get information, so you're going to get a lot of things, in fact, a lot of options because the answers are available. And those answers were not created by machines, mind you. Those answers were actually created, they are contents that was created by actual human beings. So it's not like let's take away the AI part. The answers they was actually created by people, content, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, even write-ups. Now those content were created by humans, so that's why you could have it there. So when you search, you're going to find something. So if you're searching for something that it's not that no content has been written about it before, um if you are even going to get information, so you'll be getting information that may be related to it, right? Because that's the way Google is designed. So if there's no information related, and there's a way you just search something and you don't get any query, you don't get anything. For instance, I've tried it before several times. So let me see. Let me just open Google page and show you the possibility that there are sometimes that you search and you don't get any response. So you seem this tab right down. Yeah. So let's go to google.com. Google.com, and so here's Google. So now I'm just going to type in jargons. So let's just do, normally I shouldn't do this, but let's do it long enough. Let's do like, if the characters are much, then I should get an error. I shouldn't get a query. Yeah. So this is what it's saying. Your search did not match any document. And now I'm telling you, if I reduce this, let me take this away. Sorry, stop generating. So if I take this and I search this instead, sorry, is this searching? Enter. Yeah, and I search this instead. Can you see there are some queries that are actually coming out? There are some things that are related to this, even though I don't know what it means. I just press it and it started bringing me queries fast. It has up to 4 pages. So basically, this is you sending queries. You are trying to ask for information. So that's the basic idea behind query. So the fact we are calling it structured query language, it means that the queries we are sending is in a structured format, and the language is needed to communicate with a particular information. We call it database. So I think we have talked about database where we store data basically, more like in a structured way. but those database have management system. For instance, we need a way to manage database because we can have a lot of database. We need them in a way that can be easily managed, basically. So we call those things database. That's where DBMS comes in, and the DBMS is referred to as database management system. So this is more of like a revision. I don't think I mentioned it, but I think I mentioned it also. DBMS. So DBMS is more of like a management system where your database is being stored and you can query easily using SQL, right? And one of them is what we are using. That's pgadmin. There are other ones. There's my SQL. That's my SQL server. There's Oracle. Oracle's like the big boys. There are other ones, but I think these are the ones that I've come across. I think okay, yeah. There's IBM. I think there's IBM server. Sorry, IBM. Yes, there's IBM server. Yeah, then I think there are some other platforms that have their own basically database management systems. So they call them uh, database management systems. So they are actually software that are used to manage database basically. So yes, okay, yeah, I think I missed one. There's this popular one too. So because my head a lot, SQLite. Yeah, so they are just all database management system, and SQL works with them. So you use your database is being stored inside the DBMS. That's like the pgadmin you currently installed is stored inside the DBMS too. DBMS that's is a system. It's stored inside. So when you want to interact with it, you need a language. That's where SQL comes in. So SQL is now used to interact with it. You use it to create, you can create your database, you can insert things. I think we talked about CRUD last week. That's CRUD. How can I remind us what CRUD is? Anybody? We mentioned it last week. Real quick. Anybody? CRUD. CRUD. It's an acronym for something. Anybody wants to help us? Mm, what am I calling? Eunice, Kingsley, Crude. We mentioned Crude last week. Have we forgotten? Ah, should I assume that we have forgotten? AY, I wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think I remember create for the C and maybe read for R.
Okay, it's like Olakole wants to say something. Your mic is on mute, but we can't hear you. Ah, okay. Maybe it's from my side, but can't hear anything. Okay, so okay, I think someone said something in the yeah, Tito said create, read, update, and delete. Let me just copy what you said. Yeah, so crude is sorry. So I think it should be too tiny for you guys. So this should be better. So crude is basically create, read, update, and delete. So like I mentioned last week, SQL helps you. So when you're interacting with your DBMS tool, your DBMS, that's your database management system, you are going to be using SQL to create, to read, to update and delete. Basically, I mentioned that all the function is covered in this three. I'm sorry, um in these four words. So I think we can now go on to talk about schema. Yeah, schema. So what is a schema? So basically, do I define this? Let me see. A schema um is more of like a container, or what should I put it? You use it in defining the structure in which you want your database to follow, right? So we understand that we did table last week, we did record, we did field as table, records, and field. I think I got it. Yeah. So when you have your tables, there are so many ways in which you can have your table, different formats, and so basically schema is like formatting, creating a specific format, let me put it that way, of how you want your data to look like, or the pattern of which you want to have it. So that way, for instance, I'm going to have, let's say, I want my data to have, let me say I'm working with an employee data now. So normally I have employee ID. So employee ID, employee name, then let's say salary structure, sorry, salary, and let's say start dates. So there are some things you can add to this. For instance, now I'm saying my employee ID has to be numbers, and the numbers is probably going to be generated from a particular number to a particular number. Okay, let's say another important thing is departments. I think it's very important. So this employee name, I can say, okay, maybe it's going to be just first name and last name, basically. The salary, I can say, is going to be numbers within so range, this range and that range. Then the department, maybe I have a list of department already. And start date, okay, it has to be a date time. So I don't know if you remembered when we were talking about uh what's it called again, validations in when we're talking about validations in Excel. Yeah, so basically it's more of like you are creating a way to validate, but this time around when you are creating it, it's defining, everything is well defined, so you're not going to have clashes, you're not going to have issues with naming, you're not going to have those kind of conflicts, but there are conflicts that can arise, right? So basically, the purpose of the schema is basically just to organize your database, organize it properly. Then you also have some permissions. We'll get to that. I don't really want to. I just want to touch the surface. Is this? Sorry. So I just really just want to touch the surface. Then, as we proceed, we'll go deeper into it. So yeah. So that's basically what I want to. So any question before we proceed? Okay, take that as a no. All right, okay. So I think we are now more on this call. So please, how many of us have been able to install the current software we are using? If you have, just raise up your hand. Use the raise up. Don't use thumbs up. Use raise up. I just raise the hands so I can see. K1. Oh, just one. Wow. I can only see one hand, so is that all? Or there's someone else trying to raise up his hand? Ah, okay. This is not good enough, oh, because we are going to be jumping. We are going to be moving carefully, though, but at this rate, we have to catch up. I don't want us to be lagging behind. Yeah, just lay your hand back. Or is it that we are facing difficulties installing the app? I understand that she messaged me already. But what about us? Are you facing difficulty installing the app? Is that the issue?
PG.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Sorry, you're asking if we've installed the app you sent,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I understand your situation. But I was
No, I've
asking
already
about.
installed
Oh,
it.
you've
I've
installed it
installed.
already.
Yeah, I
Oh,
did.
cool.
I've installed it. Yeah.
Just asking if for those that I just want to know those that have installed so that we probably can do some things together. I don't want it to be.
I wanted to ask you. I asked. It's part of the questions I sent to you personally. Sorry. The
Okay.
one the app you sent, is it not the same thing as the normal SQL that there's another one.
Oh, there's
It's the server 20, whatever, the SQL
MySQL
server.
server. Yes,
Yeah. Is
there's
it the same thing or
no, it's just a different one, but they work similarly.
okay? I just wanted to be sure. That's part of the questions I asked you, but I installed it as well. I have the other one as well.
Okay, cool. So, well, the reason why I was asking is I want us to just do some things. We just be doing some simple things together, like basics, basically. So, okay, last week we also touched about, yeah, I remember we were working on um, this platform, right? And let me even see. I think, okay, profile. I think it's just because I'm logged in. So we're working on this platform. Close this. I say it's more better this way. So it just showed us there's a sales here, there's products, there's promotion. So these are all tables, right? And I think that's four tables. We have the sales tables, we have the products tables, we also have the promotion table, and we have the products classes table. So this is more of like I would say this can be maybe like something maybe Jumia. Okay, I'm seeing fats and recyclable, so probably food items. Can use that as a case study. So basically this is what we worked on last week, and I think we'll be passing just checking some the structure and format of how these things work. So we mentioned select, we mentioned from, we mentioned where, we mentioned order by. Then I mentioned that SQL is basically an English-like statement. I can't forget that. So the statement is English-like, similar to English. That's the way it's written. So if you look at this here, you have select. Star means all. So select all from products where product class ID is greater than 10, order by. So this is more of like a sequence. Select all. Where do you want to select it from? This. Okay. You have other things where this is this, probably order by. So we are going to be doing something. Should we do something similar to this? Okay, let's just start. Let me open my PG admin. Oh, PG. Okay, let's see for you to start. It's supposed to take long. So I have to share it from here. Okay, share. I'm moving to. Okay, let me share the screen. Okay, I have to stop presenting. First, let me share. Okay, let me know as soon as it's my screen. So, can you guys see my screen? Oh,
No.
okay, what about now? All right. Sorry. Okay. Now this is my. I think last week I forgot my password, so I simply just created a new user and granted all the privileges. So I think, yep. So let me just start afresh. So let me create a new database. So basically this is it. So what should I call this? Let's see, data analyst. Yes. Okay, analyst. Then the connection. Right. Next one is very important. Then username. So username I set. So mine is this. So I'm sure everyone must have set username, right?
No, please, can you start
Really?
all over again and how you got to this place?
Okay, so
You-
I think during the installation for I think it's probably my OS. So during the installation, every time I want to install this afresh, I'm always asked to set my own username and password. But I think for Windows users, I don't think there's a need for that. I think there's a default password. Let me just check that up. There's a default password default password for post PG admin. The user is this, the password is the one you installed. Okay, sorry, PG admin for Windows. It's actually different. I think it should be Postgres too. I'm not sure.
I just tried to launch mine too. It's the same thing like yours. So it's requesting for
It,
ID and password.
it's requesting for ID and password. Are you
Yeah.
using Windows?
Yes, I'm Windows 11.
Okay. the password, the user is Postgres. That's Postgres. Then the default password should be also Postgres. Should be Postgres.
Please, can you help us type and just drop
Oh,
it on the
okay.
group or on the in-call message?
I don't have access to my WhatsApp, but I can drop it on the call.
Yeah, on the call. Yeah, that's what it's on the call.
So here is its Postgres. So can you try this and let me know if it works?
I'll
Do
try
you
it now.
mean the server or on the servers? Or
I mean, when you come into this place, for this is where I started. So
okay.
if you start here, you might not see this. Let me delete this. Can I remove this? Yeah. So of course, I think you have just one server. Now let me move everything. So I don't have any important thing there. No. So you can just create. I think I don't have access to this. So let's just create a new server group. So when you create a new server group, you can put it as any name. So you can put it like hijan. So when you save this, then on hijan, you register a server. So when you're registering this server, you set a name. So the name can be anything. So you're trying to create more of like, let's say, I think I use test here, but I don't want to use test. Can just say data analysis. But then you don't just go straight. You have to come to this other part, that's connection, to set host name. This is usually just localhost. Localhost means you're in system, unless you are working with a um, a server that is hosted online. But we're not doing that. Then your database, yes, Postgres. Then your username should also be Postgres. Then I think for your password should also be Postgres. So can you try that? Let me see if it works. While you're checking, let me see if I can check for the default password. Remember, I had someone install it and there was no password.
Mine says unable to connect to server. Connection server timeout.
Oh, connection timeout. That's a different error.
Mm, so
Because if I try to do this, it says no password. Let me put in the wrong password. Okay, it's what you're getting similar to what I'm getting.
mine just says connection timeout expired.
Now, can you try it again? I just try to save it. What about the other person that was working, trying to check out this? Any luck?
It still says the same thing.
Okay. What about with? Can you try to use my SQL server? You probably have to use that.
When you say my SQL, as in the password,
No, no, no,
or
no. The other DBMS.
so I should leave this place entirely, and
Yeah, I can't. Let me see, because if it's having connection timeouts, let me see connection. Okay, let me just. I have to reshare this screen. I want to show you the way I'm actually going around having to walk around the error. So, for instance, now before I get there, let me just let me log in here. So those that have access. So here is just username root. Then my password is also root. I can save the password and save. So when I save, it successfully creates and it does all of this. Now you can see my version is different. I'm on a different OS, that's Linux. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to open up my browser. So which is what I'm going to show you how I usually debug my errors basically. So present now, yeah, share. So here is my screen. Okay, it's not showing yet. Okay, so here's my screen. So so she mentioned connection timeouts on pgadmin. I need to be sure it's for Windows because it's not really available on Windows. So I think there's a proposed solution here. Let me see. Okay. So I have an instruction. Someone says, so yes, Stack Overflow is a very good platform for anybody doing anything relating to programming, not just programming, even data set. Yeah. So Stack Overflow is a good platform. What they do there is most people post questions and other people answer. So it's like a community, and it's a very big one. So most of the time, I think it's been existing for a number of years now. I think I started coding probably since 2017 or so, and I've been using it since then. And I'm sure it has existed long before then. So it's a platform where I get when I'm stuck with anything that has to do with system softwares. So someone actually proposed something that's you can actually, I think I saw it. What is it? Says go to okay, yeah, so you have connection timeouts, so I think you need more time for it. So it says go to the advanced tabs and connection timeouts, give 100 or bigger number, then save. Well, well, I don't think this will work, but you can as well try it out. But then if it's not going to work, I think so that will not just waste time, I can figure it out with you later so you can look at it. But there's someone that was actually following up. Was it Ayobami?
Yes, I also have the same thing. Timeout.
You also have timeouts.
Unable to connect. Yes, unable to connect to server. Connection timeout expired. So that's what I have.
Okay, let me check my page admin. Let me see. Sorry. There should be. Okay, can you share your screen? Maybe one of you two, Chinwe or Ayobami. Is that possible?
Yes.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Then you share your screen. Stop sharing. Okay. So what's it? Where is your PG admin? Let me see it.
Can you say it?
We can only see your Google Meet screen.
Okay, let me stop sharing, then I'll share again.
Okay.
So can you see it now?
Okay, it's coming up. Oh yeah. Okay, so okay, let me see your connection tab.
Can you see it?
The connection tab. You're in the general tab. That's the next tab.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Correct. Then it says unable to connect. Okay, go to the advanced tab. DB specified database restricted. This one's going to give us any information. Okay. Close this.
I should close this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Create a new server.
Let's add new server.
No, not here.
Okay.
Sorry, we are trying to create a new group server. So can click click down.
Yeah.
Yeah, server group. Yeah, just create any name. Let's say iJam.
Okay.
Yeah, save it.
Okay.
Then from on iJam, create a server.
Okay.
Register.
On iJa now.
Yes,
Register. Okay.
register.
Register server.
Yes. Okay, now try the
Okay.
same process again.
Okay. Mm, no. Mm, just go to connection.
Yeah, put the locals. Yeah. Okay, then the password.
Yeah. Yeah. Our password to is Postgres.
Okay,
I just copy the username.
okay. Save. Let's see if it's going to say connection timeout.
Okay.
Unable to
Still the same.
connect. Connection timeout. That's terrible. Okay, maybe I'll try to. Why did I not get that issue? I don't like this. It's like it's not. It
So what
can't.
I was suggesting, maybe we should.
Okay, maybe we should. What?
Uh, um, yeah, I'm thinking maybe after the class, myself and Chinere, maybe we'll reach out, then
Okay.
we'll find a way to solve it.
Yeah. Okay.
So we
That
should
will work.
just move forward there. Yeah.
Okay. So let's just continue. Let me. Can stop sharing. So I'll just share and just do a little we can do
Okay.
today.
Yeah, sorry, sorry
Okay.
to take you back. But can't we use the other that 2019 SQL?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We,
Maybe
we can try.
problem is peculiar to Windows
Oh.
and not to iOS. But you know that other one works with both Windows and you understand?
Oh, okay, we can try that out. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
But the it's not even about the software.
Okay.
The DBMS tools, they they probably have different views, maybe different designs. But the goal is they
Yeah.
both have similar functions. They functions
Okay.
the same way. you can run the same queries on both of them.
Okay.
So yeah, welcome. Even the most interesting part is even the PG admin. Uh, it's not like I've worked with it like that. The one I worked with really is it's an online based platform. Of course, that one is not paid. It's for working with servers. That's BigQuery. So BigQuery is Google's platform, so you can run SQL commands on it. Then there's DBT. I'm just mentioning these things. Let me be writing it down so you can see it. Let me share my screen back. So there's DBT. DBT is more of like an advanced tool. So there's DBT. DBT is database. It's called data build tool. It's more of like an advanced tool for managing structuring database. Then one I mentioned is BigQuery. Yeah, so BigQuery, it's a warehouse. I mentioned it earlier in one of the classes. BigQuery is a warehouse owned by Google. Yeah, so BigQuery is basically a data warehouse. So and you can use SQL to work with it to query. So basically the SQL is not just related, it's not limited uh to just MySQL progress, basically anything that has to do with database. But mind you, there are two types of database. I mentioned that last week. That's we have the ones that work with SQL and the one that is no SQL. So we have two types. So there's the SQL type and there's the no SQL type. My SQL is basically just structured query language, while no SQL is basically there's no structure to the query language. So sorry, there's no structure to the database, right? So it's in different formats. I think we mentioned the time we were talking about um, formats of data. So there's JSON. So JSON is more of like an unstructured format. It's not structured like tables where you have rows and columns. Instead, you have things that are nested inside each other. So it's like a nest, like layers, more like onions, where you have layers inside a layer inside another layer. So that's the way JSON is. XML too. So there are different formats. So those different formats are not structured. Well, we have no SQL, and you can't use SQL to interact with them. So what you use in interacting with them is no SQL. So they also have their own database management system. I think DBMS. You have MongoDB. I don't know if anybody has heard of that. MongoDB. I think cannot remember anyone. I think MongoDB is like the most popular one, sure. So basically, I'm just trying to emphasize the how wide SQL can be used for. So let me go back to presenting my PG admin tools. So if you have SQL, the MySQL, you can try to work with it. Maybe I'll install it, then you can use whichever anyone we decide to use. So yeah, I'm back here. So yeah, it is. Can you see my screen? Can you confirm that you can see my screen? Okay, yeah, thank you. See, you see recording? Yes. Okay, so yes, so let me just redo this process. Delete, remove server group. Yes. So I create a new server. new server group. So it's just the name basically, but the server itself takes in some parameters. So server name, set read data analysis. Let's say ijan. This is ijan again. Every time small letters. ijan. Then connection. So I already have my here is just localhost. That means it's on your system. Then my username is not progress. My username is roots, and my password is also roots. I can just save the password and save. So this is what is supposed to just happen straight up, right? So when it comes here, then from here, when I click or right click on this, I'm going to see a lot. So you can see databases, you can see Postgres. It's still populating, like it's not done. I think it's still loading. It's not done yet. Let me see, is it done? Okay, yeah, I think it's done. So we have all of this. So this is the database. So I think we have Postgres here already. It's not supposed to, maybe by default. So I'm going to create let's do something like what we had in the Facebook. So let's create like maybe 2 tables and just do some things on it. So here create, okay, database. Let's use this. I want everything to be created by ourselves. So we say ijan data. Owner, yes, root definition. Let's leave all this for now. Let's just now here you can see it has been created ijan data. Sorry. So now here's our tables, because that's what we are more interested in. We need to create table. So we come into schemas, then public, and you find tables here. Of course, this has a lot of things, like a whole lot. So currently there's no table here. So we are going to create our table. There are 2 ways to create tables. One is to write query, and one is to probably use the editor. For instance, I can just do create table, and it will create table. But I don't want to do that. We are supposed to be using queries. So I'm going to go to the query tool here. Query tool. Yeah, so this is more of like what we had in the previous what we used last time. That's the Facebook practice page. So here we can create table and just enjoy ourselves. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a table. So what should we create a table for? What database should we create? Any idea? Anybody? Anybody? Oh, I'm not getting any response. See, because we don't know. We just want to create something simple. Okay, let's do let's create a table for everybody on this call currently. So it's going to consist. So what do you want it to consist of? It's supposed to consist of let's say our first name. Let's just use only first name. Let's use email. No, I don't want us to use. Okay, we'll create fake emails anyways. So let's use fake emails. Use our departments. You create the date you were hired. So yeah. So to do that, we are going to use the keyword create. You can see I'm using capital letter. You can use small letters, but like I said last week, using capital letters basically just makes your work easier. It makes it easier to read. Right? So I'm using this. So create table. Now, what's the name of the table? What should I call it? Attendance. Attendance. Yeah. So I open this. Yeah. Also, this can say I open this bracket and it's closed it automatically for me. But I don't want to put. I can try to put my data, but for best practices, just do this. Then we'll put our data in between here. So what do you want to create? We want to add first of all we need an ID, right? That's ID. Students ID. Then it's going to be in serial format. That's serial. So it's going to be serially. So as you come in, as you add it, it's going to keep giving you 1, 2, 3. Then it's also called a primary. You want to make it a primary key. Don't worry, I'll get to explain that. Let's just write primary key. Yep. Then I want to put a name. So let's just say name. No need to call it first name or second name. Name. Let me say first name. I don't like it showing me that. First, let's call it name. Then so I want this name to probably, we need to set a character limit. So var is actually variable character. Let's say 100 in case you have a lot of names. Then what else? Someone should help me here now. Nobody's talking. What else?
I think it's okay like that though.
Student ID, first name. Let's put salary. No. Higher dates. Wait, it's supposed to be attendance actually. Sorry. Let's put date. I was thinking of employee data. Sorry. Dates attended. Then so the format is supposed to be a date format. Date. So let's just do this. Let's stop here. So to run this, I'm going to click here. You can see it says execute or refresh basically, but we need to execute. So when I do this, you can see query returned successfully in 145 milliseconds, create table. So it means that the table has been created. If you want to confirm that, you can now come to table here. If you refresh, you see 1, you see attendance. If you check this and you check the columns, you see student ID, first name, date, attended. So now we need to do something else. Now we need to fill in this table. I think if I run this again, I should get error. Yeah. So we need to actually fill this up. So how are we going to now do that? So we are going to come to, yes, so we can comment this. I think the faster way to comment this is doing something like this. Yeah, so if you put this sign around your queries, it's not going to run that query. So if I run this now, it's not supposed to run this. Syntax error. Okay, yeah, can you see it's not running it? But why didn't it run here? So what happened here? This is scary. So can you see now? It's not going to run anything that I have inside of this /star, then star and /. So anything that is embedded or stored in between this, nothing is going to actually happen to it. So now I said we want to insert, fill this up basically. So to fill this up, we are going to use a different syntax, and that's basically going to be insert. To insert, so we are inserting into which table? This table, that's the attendance table. So attendance table. Yeah, so what do we want to insert? We want to insert student ID, that's like the column's name, the first name, just basically defining it, then dates attended. Yeah, so we have these three, and we now want to insert values. Then to do this, now you are going to be inserting values per record. I mentioned that record is just a single line of information. Basically, it's like a row. So you can now help me here. Okay, I think I can remove student ID since it's serial, so it's going to be assigning it automatically. So just first name and date attended. So let's start. Give me names. I need names. We are filling this with 10 data, so I need names. So let's respond.
Okay, Bookie.
Bookie. Okay. So you have to make sure this is in place. Bookie. Okay, date.
Adiola.
Okay, we also need to put date. So let's say our date format we are going to be using like 2023. Let's just use today's date, 2023-09. No, it's 0809. 0809. Yes, so then Adiola. Something came to my mind.
What's that too?
It's nothing related to this. It's just a movie name, a Yoruba movie. Adiola. Emeka. Let me write that. Okay. After that name.
Abolore.
Huh? What name is that? I didn't hear that.
Abolore.
Abolore.
Yeah.
Is this Yoruba?
I know.
Wow. I'm not a Yoruba person. Okay.
Shitu.
Okay, what else?
Ishola.
Ishola. Then comma. Yes. Okay. I think just two more.
Jeremiah.
Jerry. Maya. Okay, let's just stop here. And so now we've done this. We've inserted. We want to insert into attendance first name. I didn't put this student ID because it's going to assign it. It's going to just give them an ID in the way it comes in. So if I execute this, okay, what is saying? What did I do wrong this time around? I think I closed this. Then values. Oh, say Nadiola. Oh. Sorry. I didn't put a comma. Comma. I mean, didn't the comma for the last one. But if I put it, nothing show up on anyways. But so run. Yeah, so you can see that says insert 07 query returned successfully in it's 9 milliseconds. So now if you come to values, so let's check here. Let's refresh this. Let's refresh. So I've refreshed this already. So now I'm supposed to have values inside of my data. Now the way to know for sure is we are going to write another query. So I'm just going to cut this. I don't want it gone. That's why I'm doing this. I'll paste it here. So now I'm going to now check. I want to check for the query. So I'm just going to write a select statement. Select all right from where? From attendance. Attendance is my table, right? So let's just do select all from attendance. So can you see now how we have actually populated this? So this is now like a student data that has IDs and it has dates they attend. You could also have somewhere else, maybe create an additional data that says maybe the student's biodata information. So this is more okay. Okay, something's coming. That's like a classroom. So a school data where they have the attendance separately, they have their biodata information separately, then they have what other thing can I say? Okay, yeah, maybe their school fees data too separately. So that's like three data already inside one database. So now we are querying this. So let's say select all from attendance where, so we want to filter this a bit. So where student ID, right? Student, let's say we want student ID where student ID is greater than 4. So that'll be student ID greater than 4. So when we run this, so you're just going to see 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can say where student ID is greater than, okay, we don't have much data here. Just have names, date, attendance. The date attended is even the same date. So should have changed it. So let me see. Okay, we can do something a bit now. Now there's another way to comment out on SQL. So it's basically using these two signs, two dash. So if I put in two dash, can you see it's comment out already? Two dash. I don't need to put this whole thing. It's because it's much. That's why I had to do this. So that's like two ways of commenting on SQL. So you can comment with this. So this allows you, the first one I did allows you to do comment for multiple lines easily, while the second one just allows you to comment for just a single line. So if you have maybe just 2 lines, you can easily use this, but if you have more, then you will need to use this. So any question before we continue?
Okay, I have some questions. The voucher, or
Okay,
what the
I called it
variable
variable
character?
character. Yeah.
I don't know what that means or what it is meant for.
Okay.
Then are we supposed this underscore between first and name? Are we supposed to be writing our commands like that?
Okay. All right.
Then which which SQL command is, do they put semicolon at the back at the end of? Because I've come across something like that. That you they put semicolon at the end of.
Yeah, of your statements when you're done writing your statements.
Yes.
Okay, so the way it works, so from the first one, this variable character. So in SQL, right, there are several data types. So there are several data types in SQL. So one of them is okay, I think I can write into this place. So let's do, since we won't be running it, let's pop down here and start something like this. Yeah, so data types in SQL.
Sorry, your screen is too tiny. I can't see anything at all.
Wow.
Yes.
Any improvements?
Okay, yes, it's better a little sharp.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so data types in SQL. So we have int. I don't think we should start talking about int. Well, int basically is refers to numbers, right? Though there's small ints, there's big ints, but you don't really you need that. Big ints is like, so there's big ints and there's small ints. So basically small ints is like maybe small numbers for a for particular range which I don't know, and big ints for bigger range, but don't really need this. So we have ints, so I'll just do the basic one. We have ints, we have floats, right? We have floats. Yes, we have character. You can also put it as character, or it's supposed to be like or character. Yeah, so we have character, we have variable character, we have think we have dates, we have time. Okay, we have time, we have boolean. I'll just stop and do a bit. We have boolean, and we have something called UUID. So the UUID is like a unique, so I'll just explain everything. So we have int is more of like a whole number from positive to negative numbers. Y for floats covers it covers just there's a level of precision we deal with when you're working with numbers. So basically that's what float works with, and there's decimal too, but let's just restrict it to float. Then we have characters which represent basically I think strings. Why variable character means that you are actually setting a specified, maybe you want the maximum number of characters you want. If I think here I put 100, so that means I want this to vary and the maximum is going to be 100, so you can put in 100 character. I think character has a fixed length. I usually use variable character. Then let me see, character, then date. So date is just basically dates, right? Year, month, day. Then time is our minute, second. Why boolean, we've done boolean, that's basically just true or false. Then UID is more of like a unique identifier. So like it gives you a unique number that is only unique to you, or is only appearing once. So you have a 1 billion data, 1 billion of rows. If you use UUI, this data type, it's going to make sure that every row has a unique number. So that's the essence of the UID. So basically, it's called universal unique identifier. So basically, so that's answering the question of this variable character. Then I think the second one was, you said something about this colon. So the semicolon is basically for ending a statement. So when you are done, I'm supposed to be ending the statement with this. For instance, from here to here is a statement. I'm done with it. I close it with a semicolon. I think it's called, yeah, a semicolon. Then this insert into attendance, first name, date attended, values. So as soon as I'm done, I just probably put a colon here. I just put it here, or I can put it here to show that I'm done with this. I'm done with this values. I'm done running that statement. Basically, I could do the same thing for here. So just put it here. So it's just to signify that you are done running that. So that's the end of that particular SQL statement, right? So the third one, I can't remember again. Sorry, can you remind me?
The underscore.
Okay, yeah. So the underscore, the reason why I was using an underscore is because there are some what's it called again? In SQL, it's not only related to SQL. They are called, I think, is it identifiers? Yeah, I think they are called identifiers. So these are like statements that SQL has normally. Oh, keywords. Yeah, they are referred to as keywords. So SQL keywords are like the set of words that are in SQL that are built in from SQL. So SQL has built it from them, so it comes from them. So if you use it, for instance, where we're trying to use, let me close this down here so we could see it. It's this. So where we're trying to use from, you can see from gives a color. Using a color means that it is unique. It is a keyword already. Even if I use small letter, it won't shade me from that. Now if I use ID, can you see ID is a unique? If I use table, table is unique. Join is unique. Now if you look at this, I think I used ID first and dates. So if I use dates, I think date is actually supposed to be unique, right? Dates first, what else did I use here? ID. Okay, I did mention ID here. So can you see why this is this? So I'm trying to avoid using a unique using the SQL keywords, which is why I had to use student ID. I could have decided to use maybe just students let me say students or ID students. But using underscore, right, it makes your work make your work looks better basically. So that was the reason why I was particularly about using underscore. Though you can use just what's it called? You can try to just use students ID, right? You just have to include it in a column. Sorry, you have to include it in quotes. So like here I'm using first name. If I don't want to use that, I just have to close this. But with underscore, I don't need to bother myself about putting quotes. It just removes that button basically. So that's the reason, and we'll get to use it more It just helps you increase that flexibility when you're working with your data. So that's how I work anyways. So have I been able to answer your questions? Any other questions?
Okay, yes. So does that mean that that the variable character, like variable character, when it's 100, we can only impute like 100 rows, or the names will contain with characters within 100
It means it will contain within, you can put up to 100.
characters of names.
Yes.
Okay, then it also means that the semicolon does not affect running even if I don't put it, it does not affect running of the command.
Yeah, it's just when you're running multiple statements. But when you're running a single statement, you cannot really put it. But for instance, now in this situation where I have create table, then I have this, then I have inserts, I have this. Okay, maybe we should just try it out then. Done. So I'm going to remove. I think this will remove everything for me. Then this one, I think I'll be fast away. So how I did that, I used the control key and my forward arrow. So if I highlight any place and I do this and I press control and forward arrow, it can help me comment and uncomment. So that's what I did there. And okay, let me do this part. So yeah, so I have this, I have this.
Sorry, control and what?
Control and forward arrow. Oh, sorry, forward slash.
Okay.
Yeah, your forward slash. It's, I think on my keyboard it's closer to the control key on my right hand, so it's easier for me. So it's just very close, so you can just hit the two buttons and you are there already. So that's what I use most of the time. So if I run this, execute. Okay, so let me put this.
And also, if I may,
Okay.
maybe the issue of putting the underscore.
Yeah.
Basically, the space programming language cannot accept space in between, so that's why we separate it with underscore, right?
Yeah, correct. I didn't want to
And there is no
mention.
support.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention programming language yet, so that will not start scaring some people.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
but in programming language, it doesn't understand space. So when you are dealing with, it's best to avoid space. That's why we use underscore. It makes it look neat. There are other cases. There are other ways of naming. You can name like this. ID. So this is called snake name casing. Yeah, think in Python. So you name your index like this. So when you're starting a new sentence, it's going to start with when you want to put another, maybe you're bringing two words together. So at the start of the next word, you capitalize the first word, then you move on like that. So it's like date attended today. It's going to look like this, or you can have it like this and like this. So this is like whichever works for you anyways. So just going to take, I think Ctrl Z should work here. Yep, 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 yep. So okay, so I run this. Okay, it says this already exists, but basically, so if I have this and let's say, okay, let me create another table, attendance underscore ijan. Anyway, it's going to convert it to lowercase for me. So if I create all of this, now you found out that what has happened is that it's going to run all of this at once. So this will create the table, this will insert these values into this table. Oh, sorry. Yeah, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, let me change this. So I forgot to do something else. Let's say quotes. So I'm supposed to change this to quotes since it's a different table, and I'm supposed to read from quotes. So if I come here and I run this, now it will execute for everything at once. So it will create this table, right? It will insert this into this table, right? Then it will select all from this table, and I get my results here. Now let's look at a situation where I remove all of this, the semicolon. Let's see what will happen. So next side, if you run this, of course we get an error. So let's just do one. Just wanted to try and run for a different query. And when we run this, now can you see what is happening? You are getting the syntax error. So because, and when you are getting the syntax error, let's pay attention to that. That's line 8. Yes, so we have number. Yes, these numbers help us in debugging. So line 8, so here's line 8. It says insert. This is where insert comes in. And if you remember, we no longer have our semicolon here. So after this line 6, the next important line is line 8, because there's nothing on line 7, so there's nothing there, which is line 8. So what is connecting line 8 and line 6 is missing, which is the semicolon. Do you get it now? She's still here. So if I refresh this, of course I'll see all the columns that we created, the 3 columns. But do you get it now? Is she here?
I think so.
That's encouraging. I think so. But anyways, I'm just trying to explain the essence of the semicolon. It's just to separate your statements, to put them into. So like this is a statement where you create a table. It's not together with this. Actually, if it was together, we wouldn't put this. So you get to see that when we are dealing with complex statement, where you get to work with multiple statement that has to be combined, but these statements are actually different. So when you put this, it means that we are actually done with this is just a single statement. The way this is, if I remove this, the way SQL is going to see this is going to see it like something like this, something like this is the way SQL is going to see it. It's going to see it like this. So like all the statements joined together. So create table, attendance, quote, student ID, then insert. It's not even saying then. After date attended, insert into. This is where it's going to see it. It's going to see it conjoined together. And this is not the syntax for how it is supposed to be. I don't know if you get that. But so this is actually not going to work. So that's why we have to put something like, so as I have this now, if I put this here, sorry, if I put it here and I put it here, you can know what will happen. It's going to run this perfectly like we wanted. So it's going to see that this from here to here is different. From here is the beginning of our statements, from here is the end, from here is the beginning of another. And let me change this to less than, this is greater than, this is less than, and executes. So can you see this? So these are successfully executed. There's no error. And if I scroll up, oh sorry, let me break this. You're going to see the top 3. So you can see it. And regarding the variable character I mentioned, you can see here we have character varying 100. So it means that it can take up to 100. You are only defining the limits, right? So yeah, that's basically um creating table. I was hoping we could create more tables, but looks like we created tables accidentally, new tables accidentally. So basically this is it. I think I'll find a way to export this query, though I can check my query history here. So it shows me all the query. Of course there's time to this, because one of the things why we mentioned SQL, why we are going to be using SQL, or why we use SQL normally, is because of the speed. It's fast in handling data. So one of the things that you actually get when you're viewing is get the speed. This is in milliseconds, 180 milliseconds. That's super fast. Of course, this is not a large data anyways. You know when we are working with large data. So basically, so I think, yeah, I'll save this and I'll find a way to I think it's high time everybody opens a GitHub account. Anyways, then I'll save this. Yeah, so that's I think we can take a break from here for tonight. And any question? Any other questions? SQL. Any other questions? Am I good? Should I take this absence, or we are trying to think, or we are not getting it, or is coming in small small?
No, we are getting it. It's just clear for me, so that is why we did not raise any question. But it's clear. We are
Okay.
gradually picking up.
Okay, so yeah, I think we are. I think everybody should have a GitHub account. So let me see. Yes, yeah, everybody should have a GitHub account, because we're going to be using that to. I'm basically going to be dropping the um the SQL queries you are writing. I'll be dropping it there. I'll probably drop it on my own account. Then we can take it and work with it. Though you will not need to use it now, but I think everybody should have a GitHub account. So I think basically that's it. So one thing I think we can just, since we still have more time and there's no questions, we can just do a little bit of exploration, right? So let's put this. I think there's something about this. So let's just put this back into order. Except select. Yes, so we can actually insert more data into this with other dates, right? So I could just take this from here to here, comment it out, put this down here, then decide to create more items. So let's say I think I have a Shola here. So let's say Shola. Now let's change the dates. I want to be fast with the dates. So 2023 08 07. Then I didn't put a comma. Then how is the name always disappearing from my head? Eunice. That's what came to my head. Eunice 2023 08 08. Okay, yeah. So I don't want to create a table again. I'll just comment this easily. Easy for me to do it that way. Then okay, I already changed the table we are working with. So let me change it back to the one we started with, which is attendance. So I want to insert this into attendance. So I'm going to put this here from here. Then let's run this. Okay, so it ran successfully and it tells me this. Now I want to now filter based on the dates. So I want to say where dates, sorry, dates is equals to, okay, let me first print for all. That's F5. F5 should do the trick. So I can see all my data here. So because I did something there, I inputted the data twice. So I'm having bookie, I'm having a duplicate. Though of course bookie entered here with this date, and when I did it again, I'm having bookie here with this same date. Now what happened there was that you find out that the student ID is actually different, and that was, it has to do with this keyword serial. So what serial did is that, like I said, as in the order, in the specific order that it comes in, it gives you, it assigns a number to it serially, basically. So that was what happened here, that where we have two bookies. So then the new ones are inserted. Let me see, is it more than two? It's supposed to be 16. Then I inserted two names, that's Shola and Eunice. Why is Shola and Eunice now coming twice? Strange. Shouldn't have come in twice anyways. So I want to actually filter for the dates. So I want to say where dates equals to 2023 08 09, no, 07. Yep. F5. Okay, sorry, not dates, it's dates attended. Dates attended. Yeah, so you can see I'm having this 3 times. I'm not supposed to have this 3 times, but anyways, let's just neglect it. So you can see that if I pick any date that is outside this, I'll probably not get anything. F5, I'll probably not get anything because it's not available basically, but I'm not getting any error. It just means that this query is not resulting to anything. Like when we were working with Google, that I placed a query on the search item. Of course, it was not an error. I got a response and it told me that, oh, sorry, this cannot find any documents related to this. That even says something. It says that everything on Google is actually a whole documents. I mentioned that they are content created by humans, basically. I don't think there's any self-generated AI content that will come out. Okay, except maybe you're recent, you are searching and you're using maybe Microsoft's Edge or an AI powered search engine, basically. So yeah, so when I run this now, I'm not getting any error, but I'm also not getting any results. So there are two different things. So if I run this for, I think we used today's dates, and I run, so I'm only going to get for today's dates, right? And if I decide to say, okay, well, date attended is this, and sorry, and the student ID is greater than 4. So now I'm appending two statements, two filters. So these are like filters. So these are two filters: date ID, students. student ID is greater than 4. So I'll have just Shitu, Ishola, Jeremiah, and Buki. Okay, those are greater than 4. I can even say greater than 4, and like I said, you can expand this students ID that are lesser than 6. That's just only Shitu. Now this is so long. What do I do instead? Just come here, break this, and to here and break it. Now it's easier to read this way. So select all from attendance, where date attended is this, and this is this, and student ID is this. So if I run this, I'm going to get sheet 2. Now I could even count. I think I talked about last time, where if I use this count and I put 8 all here, so it's going to give me a count value. So it tells me that there's just one. So let me increase this to, let's say, 8, and I run F5. So I'm having 3. So I can decide to rename these two as maybe student count. Student count. Now, can you see what's happening here? So I just enclose this here and F5. Okay, it doesn't allow this. Do not want that. How does it reject? Oh, okay. I think I know what's going on. So student count is 3. Of course, I renamed it for. This should work. Just trying to enclose this. Let me remove this. Trying to put this place. Oh, it's not saying it. Let me see. This is not working. Maybe I'll look at it. I'm used to doing this anyways. So so we have the count, but let's just remove the count and you select all, so you can see the whole table. And you can also pick the tables you want. You can just say, okay, we just want first name and date attended. Yeah, so to give you this without the ID, and I could just say, okay, just give me the names of the students, and you have it here. So it's actually very interesting to work it. I think it's simple. I think we are going to enjoy it anyways. Yeah. So do I have any question? We are done today. Before we call it a night. Alright, so I would say, in the absence of any questions, wish everyone a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
You're welcome.
Good night. Thank you.
Yeah. And please, project, I'm expecting your submission. Alright, good night, everyone.